Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of our favorite people. I am your host, April DeMille, and today our guest is Royce Morales. She is the creator of the Perfect Life Awakening program that helps people transform from triggered to empowered. Love the sounds of this. Okay, love this. Hey, sweet lady. So I was just reading your introduction, but if you want to go ahead and tell the audience your name and what you're doing in the world right now, I would love for you to do that.
Okay, what I'm doing in the world. A lot of things. My name is Royce Morales. I'm the founder of the Perfect Life Awakening program, which is a self-development, very profound, deep program that is multidimensional, goes into this life, past lives, between lives, every life you can imagine. And what the work does is it helps people neutralize and dissolve the subconscious programming and lack of deservingness and self-sabotage that goes on and that is affecting every aspect of their life. I'm also an author. I've written several books. I recently started to write a series of middle grade young adult books, and I'm up to the second one, working on the third one. So that's my story.
You have a lot of magic tricks up your sleeve.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
definitely.
you
Yes,
do. So I love that. You're in your little creation bubble, like popping off the stuff.
yes.
So
And I've been
when,
doing it for over 40 years. So,
oh, there you go.
it's gone from everything being in person, had groups and, did all that. And then COVID hit and now it's all remote and it's fine with me because we moved up to the mountains. So it's actually more convenient to do everything remotely. It's nice.
Totally. I love that part.
Yeah.
So when you are talking about moving through, past lives and other things, patterns, all the self-sabotage, everything, are there certain modalities that you use, or is this something that, like hypnotherapy or anything like that, or is there other things that you have been working through with your program?
Um, Actually, it's kind of interesting because I never knew how to do any of this. It all just arrived intuitively.
Yeah.
Literally one night in class, and I was teaching people how to meditate, but I certainly wasn't teaching them how to resolve past life stuff. And I had a student, it was 40 years ago, raised his hand and he said, "Well, that spiritual stuff sounds really nice and interesting, but how do you get there?" Because I'd been talking about love and all that wonderful airy fairy stuff. And
Right.
he said, "Well, how do you get there?" And I said, "Okay, well, here's how." And intuitively, I started channeling some kind of an energy that showed me step by step how to assist people in resolving, getting to the root, the origin of whatever it is that is subconsciously blocking them. And I demonstrated on a student sitting there. And it was a meditative process, and I would ask her a bunch of questions that I was led to ask her. And at the end, she was in tears. The whole class was in tears. And she said, "Oh my God, my life will never be the same." And from that point on, I've fine tuned it and I've learned different ways of reaching people, etc. But it's basically the same process. It gets down to the root, the origin of where you decided that I don't deserve, or I'm terrible, or I'm bad, or I'm
Yeah.
guilty about the, it goes down to the exact roots. It's very,
Yeah.
very powerful. Yeah.
No, and that's good because, like, when you've got the reactions of people feeling met and crying and moving emotion, then you were definitely moving some energy around. You were in there kicking shit around, which is good.
Yes.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it sounds like it's sort of meditative hypnotherapy type. It's without realizing that that's even what you were doing.
Yeah, it's not hypnotherapy because people are conscious, but they go into a very deep awareness. They shift into accessing memories that are not available consciously, but
Right.
they know what's going on. Yeah.
Right. So you're reaching them on a like a cellular like cell memory level.
A lot of it is cell memory. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you said that this came to you, what, 40 years ago?
At least. Yeah. Maybe even more. I've lost
Yeah.
track of time. Yeah.
And so since then, you've kind of like been on this journey and you've created this the Perfect Life Awakening program. Can you tell me a little bit more about how that came to be?
Um, well, after that person asked me that question and I got in touch with how to do it, people just started flocking to me. I was doing
Hmm.
all of this out of my living room for probably 3 or 4 years. And then in a meditation, I was shown an address and a street, and it was in Redondo Beach, and I was told to go to this place. And I drove there, and there it was, and it said for rent, and I rented it. And I just started teaching in a space, and then it expanded to a bigger space. Um, and then it just sort of, I don't know, started doing retreats. I took people on week-long excursions into New Mexico and Hawaii, various places, and it just kept getting deeper and more profound. As I learned more about myself and was able to assist other people, it just became a lot more potent, and people were having these amazing experiences. So I don't, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, for the most
Okay.
part, like, yeah, it gave a little explanation of kind of like how that unfolded, which I love that you got the download of like where to find the space
Yeah,
and how
it
that's
was
actually really cool.
it was so amazing because I had never even really been to Redondo Beach, and here I am driving the streets, and this intuitive sense said, "Okay, now turn right and look up," and there it was.
Yeah,
It was just it couldn't be more perfect. Yeah,
love how that works.
yeah,
Love it when
yeah.
that
I do
works out.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything in my life is that way, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice when you lead with more of the intuitive side and you allow, and it's really cool to see what things come up when you're letting that drive.
Yeah, yeah. And it doesn't mean that it's less challenging because I've certainly had
No.
challenges following.
Yeah.
I can tell you've had that too, where you
Yep.
think, oh, it'll be a piece of cake now. But
Hmm. Yeah.
no, you're supposed to do this and it's going to be tough, but plow through it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I've definitely had those moments when my spirit team's like, you need to do this thing. And I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind if you think I'm going to
yes,
do that. And
yes,
I'm like, you could just kiss my ass now. I'm not doing that.
right.
And then I'm
Yeah,
like, just kidding. Now I'm doing it. Fuck. Right. Like, so I totally like, cause we listen, but like, I'm still going to let my human throw a whole shit fit about it because that's just the way it works
yeah,
out
yeah,
sometimes. And so I'm like, oh my God, look at this. I'm so
yeah.
glad I listened. So
Yes.
I threw a whole
That's
fit
what
about it, but whatever.
I know. That's what happened when I wrote my first book. I was told in a meditation, you're supposed to write your book. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not a writer. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So I kept resisting and resisting and resisting. And all of a sudden, literally, I couldn't move my hands. Literally.
Wow.
And I sat down in meditation and I said, what is going on here? And it said, you're not writing the book. I said, but
Yeah.
now I can't write the book because I can't move my hands. And they said, sit down at your computer and see what happens. And I sat down at the computer, started writing, and my hands immediately healed.
Okay. Well,
So,
that sounds like a very scary story, and I'm going to tell you why. I
oh,
am
good.
resisting a book right now. And so I'm like, oh shit, now my hands are going to stop working. So I'm going to just, take a page out of your book and try to learn from that now. I'm just
Yeah,
going to be,
yeah.
okay, let me go ahead
Rather
and,
than have your fingers freeze up. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, like I hear the message. Thank you.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah, that's so funny. But I'm glad that you sat down and you started like clacking out those books because now
Yeah.
you said you're writing a third one.
Yeah, I've
Um,
actually written 3 books
okay,
and I'm working on the
the,
fourth one. Well, I finished the fourth one. Is for middle grade
right.
and it's going to be a whole series. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's really cool. So, I wanted to ask you a question. I guess when you were seeking and meditating and kind of moving through all these, prior phases, What were some of the big questions about life and death that you would ask to help you kind of in your search?
Oh, I started asking those questions at the age of 4.
Yeah.
I was one of these kids that would always ask my mom these questions that she couldn't answer, like, what happens when we die, Mom?
Hmm.
All that. I mean, she would look at me like, you're 4 years old. You're not supposed to be asking me this stuff.
Yeah.
But it really started me on my journey of, researching and being part of various religions and various self-development courses, and you
Yep.
name it, I did it.
Yep.
And, it just, some of it sort of answered questions, but never deep enough for me. So
Yeah.
I literally had to ask my own self the questions and trust whatever I was given. And of course, I was always given these answers that, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I don't like it, but it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So it all came from, I can't denigrate the fact that I did all of that research and all of the trying various disciplines and whatever, because it really opened me up, but it also showed me that this doesn't work and
Yeah.
this is bullshit. And no, I'm not going this direction. So it really forced me to see that I had to trust myself. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, and I went through that too, where I had to where I also had to like just I went and experienced all the different religions.
Yeah.
All the different modalities, and you really do just have to come to yourself and kind of pick and choose what works and what doesn't. And a lot
Yeah.
of that is intuitively guided, and your intuition showing you what is love and what is not fear-based, and
Yeah.
and the truth between the two. And yeah, so it's quite the journey.
It definitely is quite the journey. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about mirroring.
Yeah.
You work a lot with this mirroring technique, and if you could explain to our audience what mirroring is and what's the difference between that and triggers or projections.
Okay, well, here's how I explain mirroring, and it really seems to help people to understand it, even though they don't like it. I've, I've been, like I said, doing this for 40 years. I've never had a student once say to me, "Oh, what a great concept,"
Right. Yeah.
because it brings people to a state of responsibility that nobody likes to be in. It's like,
Yep.
oh no, I'm a victim, everything happens to me. So
Yeah.
basically, mirroring is, if you can imagine a seesaw going up and down, and you push one side of the seesaw down, the other side comes up. That's how energy works. So if you push some energy down, let's say I'm pushing down my fear or my anger, it has to come up somewhere
Right.
in my life, in the universe. So I might, if I'm pushing down my anger, people around me start getting angry, or I come home and my husband is pissed off, or there's always something that comes up from
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're
Like
pushing
it's
down.
going to bubble up somewhere.
It bubbles up somewhere,
Yeah.
exactly. And what the mirror shows us is what you're pushing down. So when I come home, my husband's pissed off, it's showing me, okay, well, did I push down my anger today? Or did I push down my anger for the last 50 years? So it's
Yeah.
going to show me something that I'm in denial of. And nobody likes that, because nobody likes to look at themselves in the mirror when
Yeah.
they're
Lord
they're
forbid we be accountable for
I
anything.
know, really.
Good Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and there's lots of, so it's showing us our denial, it's showing us what we've suppressed, it's showing us a big thing that shows us is the belief that we don't deserve. That's probably the biggest mirror that shows up. So I could be desperately trying to get a raise at work and I can't get that raise. Well, what is that mirror showing me? Do I really believe I deserve that raise? No.
Yeah.
I
Would
push
you
that
say
down.
that's the most common
Yes.
pattern for a lot of people
It's the
is the
core.
lack of worth?
It's the core, the bottom
Yeah.
core of
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's
So,
actually a really great example of what happens in the real world, in
yeah.
the external world, when we don't value ourselves or we lack worth, right? Is
Yes.
I need more money. Well, where do you have energetic ties and ideas or beliefs wrapped up in money?
Yeah.
right? And your values. So that's actually a really great example.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's lots of ways that people show up as mirrors. They can show up by saying certain things. You
Hmm.
know, if I'm in denial, I had this happen to me actually. I was um, at some kind of an event and I've always had trouble with my weight. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, I'm so fat. And oh, and this guy sitting next to me turned, and I suppressed that. Nobody ever knew that about me because I was like, you know, always dressed really well and was dieting, and nobody knew that I believed I was fat. And this guy sitting next to me just randomly looks at me and says, "You're a little chubby, aren't you?" or something like that. And I'm like,
Oh, wow.
and I got so pissed. And then I realized, oh, he's mirroring the fact that that's what I believe about myself. He's just showing that to me. And that
Yeah.
happens all the time with people, especially, and this goes back to your original question, how does triggering and buttons fit in with all this?
Yeah.
If somebody says something or does something or whatever, and it pushes your buttons and you feel triggered, there is always a mirror that they're showing you.
Yeah.
Always. There's
Yeah.
no exception to that rule.
Yeah.
And
There's
I can
always a
even,
message there somewhere.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
showing me, well, do I believe that about myself or have I done that to somebody else? I mean, I hate to bring politics into this, but we've got a really big mirror going on in Washington right now. And every time I hear the stuff that he does, or, you know, the lies and all of the stuff that's going on, I think, okay, well, he's showing me and everyone else some really big mirrors that we're really in denial about. Magnified, and that's one of the things that happens from mirrors, they get magnified. So
Hmm.
if I have this much anger or teeny tiny lie that I've suppressed, and I keep ignoring it, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until I go, oh, okay, you're mirroring my lack of truthfulness. Okay, maybe I'm not as big or as dramatic about it as certain people in Washington, but he's still showing me something about myself.
Right.
That's a really tough one to get.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it happens collectively, but it happens in our, like our personal circles with friends,
Yeah,
family, work,
yeah, yeah,
kids is a big one.
yeah, yeah.
Partners, like you said, your husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you talk about how this also helps us really, um, it gives us like a little awareness about ourselves and how to kind of reflect and move through some of those things. But another thing that it helps with is I think you talk about like how it helps us understand why certain people push so hard. And I want to definitely like spend some time on that too.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was saying, you know, if you don't get it, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. It's like,
Right.
come on, get it, come on.
Yeah.
Um, and we subconsciously we choose people to be those triggers for
Right.
us. You
Yes.
know, my ex-husband was like the biggest mirror in the world for me, and I look back on that and go, well, wow, of course I chose that to wake me up. He was my biggest awakener. You
Yeah.
know, before I was doing any of this, he triggered me in every possible way to wake up.
Yeah.
So we subconsciously choose those, we attract those. You know, again, it's energy. We're saying, okay, universe, I need to learn about my anger denial. So bring them on.
Hmm.
You know, and they do, they arrive.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I like that. I like that you put that work out there because in my experience, it's true. We contract with certain souls at
Yes.
certain phases of our life and at certain frequencies to have the codes to reflect to us what we need to gain from those
Yeah.
experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
And we can either resist them
Yeah.
or we can grow up and go, okay, I have some work to do and
Yes.
work with it. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a good spin on that.
You know, the other thing to mention about mirroring is it's not always people, you know, hitting us over the head with it. Sometimes it can be people withholding from us. So,
Mm.
kind of like what I was saying about not being able to get a raise. I had a really interesting experience of I had done a retreat with my students. There were probably 15 people, and we decided to go out to dinner after a retreat. And we were all on our, spiritual high and having a great time, and everything is loving and wonderful. And we went to this restaurant, and everybody asked for water from the waitress. So the waitress brought a glass of water to every single person at the table except me. And everybody's, the teacher didn't get water. They're all giving me that look.
Yeah.
And so I said, Excuse me, could I get some water, please?" Waitress does 20 other things and still doesn't bring me water. And so everybody's just now watching with, a microscope to see what is the teacher going to do now.
Yeah.
So instead, and this happened probably 3 times. And so I'm sitting there going, okay, this waitress must be my mirror. What's going on? And I asked myself, and what I heard was, you feel as though you brought this whole crowd of people in here, and she's going to be, overworked, and she's going to be upset with all of them because they're all crazy and wacky, and you don't deserve to have a glass of water because you're going to protect her from one more person driving her crazy. And as soon as I got in touch with that thought, it was like she ran from one side of the room to the other, bringing me a glass of water.
Yeah. So the moment you tap that wire,
Yep,
you were like, oh, looky here.
here it is.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's
So that,
actually a good example of something that happens immediately too, because sometimes we get the immediate feedback and sometimes we don't. Sometimes it takes a minute.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say something else about how mirrors show up. Um, oh, yeah, by others trying to stop you or resist you or control you. It could be mirroring the fact that you believe you're out of control and you need people to stop you. And this
Hmm.
really goes down to the core of what I was saying before about the deservingness, that all of the mirrors that show up are showing us something that we've denied about ourselves, probably something we did that we feel guilty about, probably something we did that we thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So, it's a funny thing that we humans do. We put those things in our subconscious mind, and either we justify them or we deny them or we think, oh, yeah, no big deal. But on a spiritual level, on a higher consciousness level, we want to clean those things up. We want to balance those things out that we did karmically. So
Yeah.
we attract these mirrors that try to stop us or try to, keep us down or suppress us in some way or whatever it is that they do, which is showing us that, okay, this is showing me what I've done, and it's also allowing me to balance out what I've done. So that thing that I did when I was 2 years old to my little sister is now showing up in some way in my life so I can balance that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that too, because those are moments that you also get a chance to express empathy and compassion for someone
Yes,
that
yes.
where you would have needed it for yourself in
Mm-hmm.
that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it gives you an opportunity to clean it up too.
Yeah.
So now that I remember what I did to my sister when I was 2 years old, I can call her up and go, you might not remember this, but I did this thing to you when I was 2, and I'm really sorry. And it
Yeah.
might generate some kind of a conversation or a connection or, wow, thank you. It allows that space of love to be, that's what it's really about, to love
Right.
ourselves so that we can love others and attract love. That's really what it's about.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And so how do you think intuition plays into the healing and pattern recognition?
Intuition, it's everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I find that, like I said about writing my book, if we don't listen to our intuition, it's going to do things to make sure that we do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, even intuitively being attracted to somebody that's going to push those buttons so that you can get in touch with a mirror,
Yes.
or attracting something into your life that's going to wake you up to what your true purpose is. That's, I think, so important too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never thought I was a writer. Now I discovered that, yeah, I'm a writer and I love it. And I never would have done that without my intuition going, wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like and triggers, we've talked about this, are invitations, right? But
Yes.
even like you talking about your writing, and I'm sitting here going, oh. Well, I feel very called out because I know I'm resisting. I know for a fact I'm resisting. But I am also aware that I'm resisting and currently trying to rearrange things in my life to make space.
Good,
So
good.
I'm not adding pressure necessarily, um, in that sense, like some sort of urgency. I know that it's there, but I'm also just gracefully moving and doing what I can.
Good.
Yeah. So I was going to say something though. There was something I was going to say. Oh, I was going to say, I was going to go back to the conversation you had a minute ago when we're talking about, intuitively being drawn to people that are actually meant to trigger and provoke and mirror us in certain ways, right? And I love that spin on it because there have been a zillion times that I have brought in, family members, friends, coworkers, romantic partners that definitely needed to shake me awake.
Yeah,
And and even though I'll never have anything to do with those people again, like I've outgrown the need for them,
yeah,
I sit and go, do you know how much, like how hard it would be to have that contract for them to have to come in and be so fucking mean
it's
to
true.
us?
Yeah,
Like, can
it's
you even
true.
imagine how hard it would be, right? Like, I sit and I even have compassion for those contracts because I'm like, man, that's a rough fucking job to come in and be the bad guy,
Yeah,
right? Or the villain or the victim of my story, the villain of my story, whatever it is, to shake me awake. But on the flip side of that, how much love is that? For somebody to come in and be like, dude, I'll do whatever it takes. If I have to be the bad guy, you got it. I'll do it. Right. So like
yeah.
it puts things in perspective for me a lot.
Oh, definitely. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about certain people in the White House that have chosen a lifetime to really shake the entire planet.
Yeah, that's
That's
got to be hard.
huge,
Yeah, that's really hard work.
huge. Yeah,
Absolutely. There's something there is something admirable about a job that has to move through that kind of work.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we
And
don't
I,
like them. Even
yeah,
if even if I'm like, I hate you, stay over there, but I get you. I see you.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always say, one of the things I always say is your higher self, your spirit, will do whatever it takes to wake you up, and
Yeah.
including elect somebody to do this to the entire planet. So on some level, we've all chosen this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. What is what is needed, period.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So for someone that might be feeling disconnected from their intuition, what is a step towards rebuilding their inner trust that they could take?
Ah. That's a tough question because I think everybody is so different,
Yeah, it
you
depends on
know?
where they're at in that process.
It
Yeah.
really does,
Yeah.
yeah. But I find that the more you trust it, it's like exercising a muscle, you know? The more you exercise it, the easier it is. It doesn't hurt as much, it's not as scary.
Yeah.
It gets stronger. I find that for me, it took a lot for me to really start trusting it. I had to have proof. I'm one of these very
Oh yeah.
skeptical, I need proof people. Um, And so it took maybe 100 times, maybe more, I hate to admit it, to really trust my intuition and to allow myself to follow it.
Yeah.
I find, and this sounds really contradictory, but the way that worked for me was, okay, I'm not going to trust it and see what happens.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
right? Like you know
yeah,
how that works out.
and then yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not going to turn left because you're telling me to turn left. Oh, that's why I should have turned left. There's a
Yep.
traffic jam. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So yeah, so don't listen and see what happens.
Well, and I've done that many times, and I had more and more chaotic tower
Mm,
heartbreaking moments because I
yes.
was refusing the parts of myself that were needing the voice, needing to be
Yeah.
witnessed, needing to be in
Yeah.
charge. And so I definitely learned the hard way. I was one of the souls that had to learn everything the hardest fucking way possible.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say in the last, few years, it's gotten I tend to lead more with my intuition, but it took me, I mean, I didn't even come out of the psychic closet, the psychic medium closet until I was 37.
Oh,
So, and that's only been 10 years, right? So I'm 47 now. So it's only been 10 years that I've actually publicly been like, okay, this is what I am and I can't get rid of it. I tried all that. That didn't work. And so now I just have to like own it. And
yeah,
it took a long time. I was very, very asleep, very, very asleep. I was like, no, I never ever want to wake up to this nightmare, right? And
yeah,
it took leaning into that to really change things for my life.
yeah. Yep, whatever it takes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's unfortunate when we're in
yeah,
like comas like that. I was definitely in a deep sleep.
yeah. Well, I found in my life, I know that if I had been told some of the things that I was going to be doing, I would have run for the hills. In fact, I did try to run for the
Yes,
hills several
exactly.
times. Several times. I
Yep.
tried to buy a house in Colorado, nothing happened. I mean, just weird universal things going, no, you are not doing that,
Right.
period. So
Yeah.
if I had been told in no uncertain terms, I would have really fought it. So everything had to be given to me very gently.
Yeah.
Like, yes,
Yeah.
write the book. Okay. Okay, now do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that one. If my higher self had said, by age 47, you'll be doing X, Y, and Z, I'd have been like, "Pfft, get fucked. Like, whatever. I'm
Sure.
like, okay, I believe you. Like, yeah, no,
Oh,
I would have, yeah, no, I wouldn't have believed it either. And there are still moments where I think you said like you had to have proof of everything. And there's a
yes.
lot of people in the spiritual community that will shame you for that and be like, oh, you shouldn't question and whatever. And I'm like, whatever. That's how you build the muscle.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
like, it's just how it works. Like if you go to the gym and you keep doing the same exercise and you're getting no gains,
Yeah.
yeah, there has to be a reason for you to keep doing the thing, right? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like you have to see the proof in the pudding somewhere,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what it takes to build those muscles. And so I tend to now not need as much proof. Like now I tend actually sometimes I'm even like I don't give a shit. Like I'm too busy to worry about proof. Like cool, we're doing this thing. And then there's other times that they'll say you have to do this thing and I'm like, "What? That's insane. Why would I do that?" And then I go, "Oh, fine," because I know I have to listen. So I'm feeling like I'm being drugged by my hair because I'm like this seems so wrong.
Yeah.
And so I get drugged through the lesson, but then I'm like okay, I get
Yeah.
it. You still always get it. You get the silver lining, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
After the
And
fact sometimes.
the other part of that for me is to let go of the expectation of what's going to happen from it.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
know, like when I wrote my first book, I thought, oh, it's going to sell 1 million copies. Well, it sold maybe 20, and I
Yeah.
thought, oh, why did I do that? Why did I go through all this? But everything starts to make sense when you look back on it. It's like, well, if I didn't write that one, I hadn't, wouldn't, all this other stuff wouldn't have happened. And
Exactly.
right now it's being made into a screenplay 30 years later, things like that. Yeah,
Yay!
it's
I
like,
love
okay,
that.
let go of those expectations and trust the process, girl. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. I think not being attached to the outcome is probably where the magic is the most.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that's a hard one because,
Oh
like,
yeah.
we also have so many people in the manifesting world that are like, oh, you want to manifest, then you need to be specific and focus on this and this. But you can only be so specific without attaching to outcomes, and that's what creates the suffering.
Yes.
So it's really it takes a lot of practice. It's a hard line to walk. Like it's very it's complicated.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
just like simple, easy way to do it.
Right. Thank you for saying that. I get so tired of hearing all the people talking about manifesting. It's like, it takes a lot more than that. What
It
it really
does.
comes down to is what I was saying before about deserving. I mean, you can, affirm and do vision boards and all that stuff till you're blue in the face, but if you don't feel deserving, what you're sending out is, please do not manifest this because
Yeah.
I do not deserve it.
That's exactly what will happen. If you're sending
Yeah,
that out through your lack of worth, then you will continue to not receive it. You'll block
right.
it.
Yeah,
So block it, delay it, so to speak, whatever. You'll just continue to be like, I'm not worthy of this. And so it just puts it off,
yeah, yeah.
which is a big one that I'm having to go through right now because I'm dealing with some health issues that started like, I don't know, like 8 years ago. It probably started before that, but I just didn't know about it till like 8 years ago. And since then, I've had like COVID twice in the last couple, it's been a couple years. But once I got COVID, and then I had COVID in 2022, COVID in 24, and back to back with the COVID, I had surgeries. So it was like all this trauma on my body all at once within 2 years. And I've done nothing but lose hair since then, and I'm having to face myself and what my worth means without hair. And and am I going to have total collapse and lose it all? Like all the things have been coming up with that um, very heavily for me in the last 2 years, and it has been excruciating. It
Mm.
has been such an ego death, right? Like it's killing me, which is it's supposed to,
Yeah.
but I am still 2 years into this and not a single new hair has grown. So somewhere I am, I have created this idea that I'm not worth having it back, and I've got to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
Or
it's
whatever the lesson is to have from that also. Who
right,
knows? Yeah.
right, yeah. Or and I'm pretty sure the overall lesson is, you know, we go through life and we have this idea of who we are and what that means, and that includes how our appearance is on the
Yeah.
outside, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always been attached to this idea, this is what makes April who she is. And now that's changing, and I'm like, oh shit, now I got to figure out who I am without that, right? Like what if you take all that away, what the fuck am I left with, right? And so that's it's a hard lesson to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah. Well, what you said about the ego, I mean, we're one of our big lessons is to let go of our ego
Yeah,
and to be authentic,
right.
not
Yeah,
needing external validation, all of that stuff that is so ingrained in us as humans.
right.
It's a tough one to get past. It really is.
It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard, and I mean, you have to get through it regardless. And I think in my mind, I always thought, that's probably the lessons that we learn later in life, like when we're, in our 80s and our bodies are changing and things like that, whatever. And I'm sitting here going, dude, I'm mid 40s. Why am I doing this now? Like, what the fuck? Like, this seems a little proactive, but whatever.
You're just ahead of your time.
I guess I'd have to be. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with that because it sounded good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, speaking of your books, do you have a copy of it with you? Do you have like one that you can
I
show
just
us?
happen to have it sitting right here.
Yay!
Here it is. Oh, it's backwards, but
I love it.
title is No, a Spiritual Wake-Up Call.
Okay. I love that. And so, where can that be found? I'm going to have the links and everything in the show notes anyway. But yeah, definitely let me know, let us know where that we can find all that and the
It's
quickest way
on
to get a hold of you.
Amazon, on
Okay.
Amazon. And let me show you, I have to show you my middle grade book. I'm so excited
Oh
about
yeah, we
it.
want to see whatever you are willing to show. Oh,
My,
that's
my
so cute.
grandfather died and turned into a hummingbird.
Aw, I
And
love
it's
that.
written for like 12 on up. I've had adults read it and say, "Oh my God, it's great for adults too." It's about a 12-year-old girl who has this wonderful relationship with her grandfather, and he dies, and he's able to communicate with her. She sits at the graveyard and has these long talks with him, and it ends up that her grandmother is starting to go through dementia, and it's all about their relationship. And she freaks out because she can't tell anybody that this is happening, and it's just really great. It deals with so many different issues that everybody needs to understand. It's
Right.
like you can communicate with somebody when they die, and you can trust that. And he teaches her all these amazing higher self concepts, and it's just really wonderful.
Which is
Yeah.
actually really, really impactful because I tend to lean into more of the specialties of grief and trauma. And teaching kids the tools for handling grief is something I
Yes.
wish that we had all had, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so now you're able to say, here, let me equip you with some important
Yeah.
information that, will last you your whole life long. And that is also incorporating spirit and how that leads you through grief as well.
Yes. Yeah. And he not only teaches her how to grieve, but he teaches her how to do with fear and her anger and
Yeah.
all the emotions. And he just gives her these great little tools that will definitely be transposed over to whoever reads it. It's like, oh, that's what that is, and that's how I deal with fear. Okay, great. It's yeah, it's
I
really
have
wonderful.
a I have some nanny kids that I care for. And one of them just turned 9. So I'm like, I definitely need to get her that book.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a really good book for them to have.
Yeah, and I didn't dumb it down. I didn't, it's not like science fiction. It's just very real relationships, like how would a granddaughter who loves his grandmother, grandfather, it's just very touching, very meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I'm so glad you did that. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. And then the second one is about her father having a stroke. And my husband had a stroke 14 years ago, so it's based on the experiences that I've had with him.
Okay.
But looking at it through a 15-year-old, now she's 15. So
Right.
going through that, yeah. So
I
that's
love that you're doing
really
that. Like, I
exciting
think it's
too.
so important to set the younger generation up with the right tools.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that your dog? Did
That's my
she come?
dog.
Oh, tell her I said
There she
hi.
is. Come here, baby.
Come
Oh,
see us.
you have to see her little outfit. Come
Oh,
here.
yeah, I want to see. Oh, she's so rotten. Oh my goodness.
She's my little baby, my little
Aw.
princess.
Oh, she's so cute. Oh, I love that. Well, I'm glad she got to come show her little face here.
See,
So,
see.
Royce, do you have anything else that we need to go over before we end? Is
Um,
there
let's
anything
see.
else that you want to, any last words, anything that we didn't cover?
Just to let people know that I'm still teaching. It's all done remotely, and I do private work with people also. But I do find the best way for people to work privately with me is to start out by doing my program because it really helps to have an understanding of why are we doing this and understand mirrors and intuition and all of that.
Yeah.
But if somebody is interested, just reach out and we can do that. And then, again, just to remind everybody that it's not surface level work that we're doing. It really goes deep. And it's very, very powerful, very empowering. And I find most of the time my students end up discovering their true purpose. They awaken to their intuition. They clear out some of that stuff that's in the way, and their deservingness shifts. Um, yeah, all kinds of things. And I hate to set expectations up for what will happen because you never know what happens from this work, but it's usually pretty profound in some
Right.
way.
So it's
Yeah.
like come prepared to do some heavy lifting.
Yes. I'm not
Yes.
going to sit there and go, let's just affirm or let's just do these vision board. We're not going to do that at all. It's deep work. It's
Yeah.
really facing the mirrors and, taking that Windex out and cleaning them.
Yeah. Diving straight in, which is exactly
Yeah.
what the world needs more of.
Yes. Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, well, I am going to stop it here. I'm going to tell everybody goodbye. Bye, you guys. See you
Hi.
guys next time.
Thank you.